Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a Brucey bonus episode of Burly Bird Live. There's an alliteration for you on a Thursday night. I'm your host, Jonathan Garrett, and I am thrilled to be joined by Ricardo Sestairu from Camel 101 Games. We are going to be talking and playing some Dead Stop. First episode, no vacancy. This is a brand new, in fact, hot off the press, released today. Brand new experience. Very, very creepy, almost VHS horror vibes going on, which was immediately intriguing when I first saw this. Ricardo, welcome to Burly Bird Media. Thank you so much for joining us, and what a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you doing, man?
Very happy to be here. It's a super exciting day. A launch day is always very intense, but it's also an incredible day because it's when we finally get the chance to show the players what we've been up to. So yeah, very happy to be here.
Absolutely, man. I think it's one of those things where, well, first of all, huge congratulations. You just launched a game. Like, that needs to be
Yeah.
acknowledged as it is a Herculean feat, regardless of what genre, regardless of your chosen platform or your development pipeline. It is a life achievement unlocked, right? To be able to do something like that. So congrats, man. And actually, that's something that I wanted to kind of to kick off tonight's stream with, which is just to say that, given the nature of the release cadence you've confirmed for this, that Dead Stop is by design an episodic adventure. You're going to be releasing these, I believe, is it every sort of is there a target window there in terms of like what the cadence would be in terms of future episodes, what like you want to hit?
We're aiming at least to release one episode each year.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah, we want to be fast, but we also need to have the time to make a polished thing. So we don't want to rush it.
Nice.
But the plans that we have, we can easily release an episode every year.
Oh, I like that. That also gives you flexibility too. You're prioritizing quality, but you're also giving yourself that flexibility to take the time you need, right? Which is, especially with something like this, is really important. So, and that actually, that again, that something I was really intrigued by when I first saw the game. Was this always the intention? Was it developed as a complete experience, or was from the ground up was the goal to always produce something that was like an anthology that's a bit more episodic?
So it's the first time that we do something like this. Our previous games have been a bit longer and a bit more complex. And our last game took us almost 5 years to make.
Was this Beneath?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Beneath. So creatively, it's a bit hard to be around the project for so long. And we feel that we have so many stories that we want to tell, and new worlds that we want to create. So after we finished Beneath, we decided to try something different, a short story, and we thought, yeah, we could make an anthology, an anthology of short stories, just like the horror shows from the 80s and the 90s, like A Twilight Zone and others. So yeah, the idea was from the beginning to create a short but intense story that would be told from the beginning to end, and each episode is a self-contained story. And yeah, it's great. It feels great to work on something that we can make so in a short amount of time.
Yeah, that's interesting
great.
too. Is that like I always wonder if the tendency, especially when you've committed so many years to your previous project and Beneath, that the tendency is to sort of like, it's the go big or go home logic, right? Of like, well, we've hit this, we spent X amount of time making this, but we could spend 6 years now making this. And it becomes that sort of like, that's where the feature creep starts to happen, and you start thinking like perhaps beyond your means in terms of your team size and scope and budget. So actually, I think it takes quite a bit of creative restraint to actually step back and go, actually, not only do we want to try something that's a bit left field that leans into, obviously, like, let's not forget, the sort of the horror background that you've always dipped a toe in, right? And I think that's not a surprise to anyone that follows Camel 101. But I think it does take a certain restraint for you to then go, not only are we going to scale back our development time and not have quite such an involved process, but to do something that's completely different in a different format. And it's something actually we talked about actually just before we went live. The idea as well of you've just launched No Vacancy, but the Tenant episode 2 has been teased and is now has a Steam page and now has like a description and stuff. Was that again? Is that these feel like very deliberate choices? Like this is not like a pivot, right? Like this is you doing this. This has real intentionality behind it. Like you wanted this to be the
Yeah,
approach.
yeah. Before we started working actively on No Vacancy, we already had a few ideas that we would like to create as a game. So we had to choose the first. It was No Vacancy, but we already had the second. It's the Tenant. It could have been the first, but it was the order that we chose,
Mm.
and we already kind of have the third episode outlined. So yeah, you could say that it was all planned from the start. Again, it's an experiment. It's a thing that we've never done before. But yeah, we're trying to see if
Yeah,
the players
nice.
like it, if the players enjoy it, and it's actually I talked about from the creative side, but I'm also a player, and as a player, I noticed that I don't spend as much time playing longer games as I used to. I don't have the
Right.
time or the energy to play a 20-hour game or a 30-hour game. So I play a lot of this kind of short horror games. So it's a thing that we chose not only as a creative team, but also as a consumer, as a player. It's something that I've been growing a lot in enjoying a lot. So yeah, you could say that it was a choice motivated by the creative side and by the player side.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you have those two elements of your own that you're kind of bringing to this process. But also, I think that notion that, or Mongoose General on YouTube just mentioned, agreed on game length. Sometimes, especially the older you get, I think there's sort of you can draw the line, can't you, of like age to availability to play games, right? And that I think there's potentially a real kind of market to corner there, which is that they're
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
very bite sized, very, and also given all the stuff that's going on, broadly in the industry around, like, we've got budgets and layoffs and projects bloating and studio closures and all this. It's a real tumultuous time. Like it's really tricky to be in this industry from indie to AAA. Like that, no one is
yeah,
secure
yeah, yeah.
necessarily, right? So, but the idea I think of pricing and value has become a big part of the conversation. Dead Stop being something that is very appropriately priced for its length. And I think I'm not someone that needs something like, if I've paid £50, I expect 50 hours. I don't equate that sort of nonsense,
Yeah,
right? Like, that
yeah,
ridiculous argument. You could spend £80 on a 2-hour experience, but if the 2-hour experience was what you've derived value from it, the price is almost immaterial. However, what you guys I think have done of price something that's really accessible and speaks to the nature of it being this episodic release, I think that's just a really smart approach. And there's definitely a corner of the market there to capture with this, which is really cool. Do you think Dead Stop is a surprise for people that have followed your work previously? Or is this the
I
natural
think
progression for your studio?
no, I think it is. I think it is a surprise because for the last years we've been doing what you just described before. Each project that we did was a bit more complex.
Mm,
We went a bit deeper into the tech side. In our previous game, we bought a motion capture suit. We did all the motion capture and animation. So we were constantly growing on the complexity of the project.
mm,
So for everyone who's been following us, I believe it was a surprise to see us scaling down and doing a short game. But you gotta do what makes you happy, you know.
Absolutely,
So
and I think that's the beauty of you. You know, you've self-published Dead Stop, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the notion that you've been able to define what you wanted creatively from this without having to hit some metric, without having to, you know, appease a publisher's expectations or anything like that. Like I think there is something really exciting about you as a studio that have iterated and have expanded. You've released on console, you know, you've released on PC. Um, then going back to something that creatively excites you, not because it's some massive commercial bet. You've made the budget and the scale and the pricing relative to what you're making. And I think that's just it's really exciting. It's a really interesting thing that you've made here. And without further ado, like I've just helped myself with my own segue here. Um let's show it, Ricardo. Let's show these opening moments. So I want to be really clear though, folks, that I'm going to be very careful with what we see here, right? Which is that um uh we're not going to be showing like, you know, a huge amount of the game. I'm going to go from the very beginning, showing maybe just the opening sort of few minutes. I'm very conscious with this that I don't want to show spoilers to people, especially on launch day. I know we'd actually talked about that as well. It was a really good consideration for us to have here. But one thing I did want to say, I'm just going to make sure that we are volumed and all working correctly. I believe we should be. Um, yes, we are indeed. Is the just the soundtrack and how that all came together, like this the opening menu music, which I mean right now this has been looping for a while, so it's not actually playing on oh, there we go, perfect timing, right on cue. It's like I almost meant for it to happen. I just curious, like is this do you have an in-house team for your audio? Was this outsourced to like a contractor who produced this absolutely brilliantly creepy soundtrack?
Actually, some of the songs in the game are made by a wonderful guy who's known as White Bat Audio.
Okay.
Carl Casey, and he does a lot of royalty-free soundtracks, and that's how we got him.
Amazing. I love also that a project on this scale, you're still bringing in other creators and giving them, you know, there's other opportunities.
Yeah, of course.
That's so cool. So just, I mean, again, you'll be able to see from the aesthetic of this, folks watching, that, you know, it's a very deliberately stylistic choice here, and this evokes in some ways some of the really like classic, like it's not point and click, but it's got that kind of energy to it in a way that is that fair? It's like that kind, you know, that kind of like. Just you getting key items and you're exploring and you're like looking at every nook and cranny. That was certainly my take from this.
Well, it's I think it evokes, or at least it was what we were trying to do. I think it evokes that magic of the older games that you jumped in and you didn't know what to expect. So yeah, it was exactly what we tried to do here. The mystique of the older times and the older games, you know.
And I've got to ask you about the graphical style, because this to me looks like something you would find like on, say, like a classic platform like a PS3 or a 360. It evokes those kind of like this gives me such Xbox Live Arcade vibes. Like, really does. Like, this is the kind of thing where you like it. It's like a little hidden gem that you'd find on there. And I didn't know if there was like a particular inspiration you took for the aesthetic for this, because it's such a swing from certainly from Beneath. I just was curious, kind of where that came from. I'm always fascinated by like where that design started. You know, again, was it always the intention? Has this evolved over the course of development?
Yeah, it was always the intention from the start to have like a retro look. So we basically started looking at the older games like Silent Hill, like Resident Evil even, and we wanted to have the same kind of environment and the same kind of the textures You can see everything, but it's a bit rough. But it's a style. It's not rough because it lacks the quality. So we tried a lot. We tried a lot in increasing increasing and lowering the quality of the textures, the types of rendering that we could do, the lighting, the shadows.
Mm.
I think we spent a couple of months until we got to the point that we said, yeah, this is the look that we want. It's final, and this is it. And now it's the same look that we are going to apply on all the games.
Oh, great. Okay, with that,
No Vacancy on the
you helped
demo.
me, Ricardo. You helped me with my segue again there, because I was going to ask you, like, is the intention throughout the anthology to have the consistency to it, so it's going to have like
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
visual
yeah,
language
yeah.
to it?
The visual language, the audio language, it's gonna be the same. It's like a show. It's like a horror show with a different episodes. But when you start a new game, you already know a bit of what to expect.
Yeah, I think that's something too. Is that okay, I'm playing the next Dead Stop. I'm kind of coming in and it's evoking that same visual language, which I think is really cool. So yeah, and I think that also too. For me, it really lent itself to like it gave it like a real. It makes me feel really like uncomfortable in places. Like it really like it's kind of unnerving in some parts, and I think that you've kind of lent into that really nicely.
And there's also another thing about why we chose to start with no vacancy. I don't know if you played those Remain.
Yes, I did on PlayStation. Yeah,
The game also starts in the roadside motel. So we wanted
great.
to make a quick throwback to those Remain and the experience of arriving.
I never
in a
connected
quick
those
motel.
dots. I love the fact
Yeah.
that there's like that you've evoked that again. That speaks volumes to the length of time you've been making this stuff and working on these games, as you're able to now be self-referential to your own projects.
That's true. That's true.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I love the I love the look of it. There was something as well. We'll get to a bit later on with a ladder where you go down in sort of like this this whole sequence, which is again really
Right.
I've seen it already and I know it's going to creep me out. But like the sort of the slow turnaround, I'm always expecting something, and I've been tweaking the sensitivity so it sort of feels comfortable, but gives me that sort of like still that preserves that kind of slightly surprising feel to it. And actually, something I wanted to ask you about as well is, and again, I don't know whether this was, I'm conscious of this being, where you can start to feature creep, right? And it can start to bloat. But the idea of like it being narrated and having just the text on screen, it does give it that very, very old school feel. And I didn't know if there was ever a version of this that had sort of like recorded voice lines, or if it was always designed to be, we want to evoke this as like a text adventure.
It was a discussion that we had. We weren't sure if we wanted to add the voiceovers or not, but since we were aiming for this old retro vibe, we thought the voices could be a bit too much here. So we tried with the text only, and we felt that it doesn't need voices. It is just like this, and I think the voices here would not be a plus. It would be a minus here.
Yeah, interesting. It's not. I think there's always that sort of, and it is an ignorant assumption, is that that it always a game's narrative has to be voice acted in order for it to be impactful. I don't agree. This is the case study for that, which is you can just sort of sit in the world of it a little bit and not have a voice put on. But like, I mean, I often read subtitles. I'm a drama teacher by trade, so like I have a tendency to look at the direction of things like camera angles and voice performances and all of that. But I often find myself with subtitled stuff like this, where I put the voice in my own head, and I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I allow myself to have that imagination, which I think in some ways is quite immersing, too. Mongoose, hey, that's my TV remote. Thanks, we found it. And this, by the way, this is so accurate. I don't know what it's like with you guys right now, but we're having a bit of a heat wave over here in the UK. And
Same.
okay, yeah,
Same.
and my goodness, it is Toasty McGee. So this is actually giving me some slight PTSD, seeing that the air conditioning isn't working.
Very warm nights, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that movie over there, on the TV, that was actually the first horror movie ever made.
Oh, no way.
By George Méliès.
Oh, so okay. So this is why we're doing this, Ricardo, because I feel like right now, and again, if we're going to evoke old school, I feel like right now we're doing a DVD commentary. I feel like this is like the uncut. This is the DVD commentary of Dead Stop right now. Lovely touch. I love that you guys have even considered. Look at that. I didn't even clock this properly.
Yeah, it is.
That's great. That's so cool.
And the movie doesn't have any sound, so you can actually see the movie how it is.
As intended, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, as intended.
Some great, I wanted to just shout you guys out a little bit here, the signposting, really subtle signposting on that, having the, rather than it being, like you often get in games like the coloured rag, like or something that like shows you where to go. This having it be like the truck with the alarm and like just a really great touch.
We didn't want to have the player walking around and trying to understand what he wanted to do, but we also didn't want to follow the route of explaining everything. Oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do that. So as long as you can naturally get to the place where you need to go, we are happy.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a nice touch. I'm not sleeping with the door open. Nice. I hadn't seen that. That's great.
Well, it's a crazy world out there.
You're helping yourself with your own segue there, given this.
Wow,
such good Foley on this. You know, I hadn't actually noticed that all the cars are missing.
Yeah.
That is a great... Yeah, that sort of... This is something I really, really liked.
Yeah, there are a couple of details.
I'm discovering stuff.
Yeah. That you probably notice after playing a second time.
Yep, and this is my second playthrough, and I hadn't noticed that. I just came straight. I kind of beelined. I was like, okay, this is freaking me out. I'm going to reception. Good shout. Good spot, by the way, Mongoose, on the crickets. He's also saying, love games that think of that with the door, that it gave the alternate text because I left the door open. Just saying that's a really nice thing to have thought about.
The small details.
Which in a game where you are going to be paying attention to the artwork, the posters, like there's so much here that is, environmental storytelling. If you then don't have those details, that's weird. That then becomes jarring almost, I think.
Yeah. Definitely.
The temptation to be like, we've got a couple of guys posted at the entrance to stop anyone from slipping out. But that's precisely why you didn't put voice acting in it, because then idiots like me would try and completely ruin the atmosphere of this. Yeah, I think also And I this is something I really struggle with generally in games, is when they sort of like try to lore dump you super early, where
Yeah,
like it becomes like you have suddenly like 8 different characters to remember, whose names they are, what factions they belong to, how they tie in with the history. I think there's something to be said, I think, again, for I restraint was the big thing that I took away from my time with Dead Stop, is that I feel like you were really restrained in what you put out there. You didn't just sort of blow it all out the airlock straight away and show everyone what was going on. There's a real nice build up to it, and encouraging you as well. Like early on, I really like seeing that you're gonna see a lot of these folks, like seeing like the sort of narrative notes and letters that are left around that give you little hints.
yeah. There were actually two reasons for us to do it like this. The first one is obvious. It's a short game, so we don't want to throw a lot of lore to the player and things to read, or it's boring and it breaks the flow. And the second reason is, as a horror fan, I firmly believe that we don't need to explain everything. There are
Yes.
some things that are meant to be vague, to be a secret. We don't need to explain the motivations of the villains or why a monster is doing something. It doesn't need to be explained. It is as it is. So that's why we try to keep it light. And yeah.
No, I think that's really interesting. I like the notion that you're not just trying to just put all your cards on the table straight away. I think is really restrained and really good. I think it's you're also trusting your players. You're trusting your audience to go on a journey with you rather than having to be spoon fed the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's
Let me just add, without spoiling, there's there are a couple of details in the final sequence of the game, in the final scene, that are very telling about what's going on. And from what I've seen, most players haven't even noticed these small details. Again, it's stuff that you probably noticed by the second time that you play the game, if you play it again. So we try to hide some environmental cues around the game.
Yeah, nice to give
Yeah.
give those little breadcrumbs, right? I
Yeah,
love
yeah, yeah.
this. By the way, I have a running gag with my friend Mike about drinks machines in games, which is we always try and interact with them in some way. Do you punch them to knock a drink loose? Do you try to actually buy something and get it drop out? The fact that the main character in Dead Stop just goes, "I'm not thirsty," it's great.
Yeah.
I love that. But no, I think again that sort of trusting your players, putting stuff in the environment that those that then poke around and want to investigate then are rewarded for their time in doing that, which is really cool. What engine did you use to make the game?
It's made with Unity.
It's Unity. Okay.
Yeah, it's Unity. It's Unity. I don't recall the version, but yeah, it's Unity. Yeah, we've been working with Unity for a long time now, so it's our engine of choice.
I think that's, again, you're building on prior expertise, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I know. I remember there was something in here, but I forgot where it is. Oh, there we go. God, those again. Even though this is playthrough number 2, those music cues, they're still unsettling. They still make you kind of have like a moment. It's and this is really well designed. I really like these dudes down here. Immediate threat that you can't go up to, you can't engage with. I think there's something to be said for kind of like forcing you to just think with the environment and think with your moveset rather than just going straight to fight mode.
Yeah. Nice. So the only way out is going inside more rooms.
Yeah. That's a really nice concept. I mean, no, thank you. Absolutely not. No, not this thing. That's a big no. Look at him scurrying away. I was furious when I saw that. Now, I mean,
she does.
this is starting to get a little bit. I'm not going to go too much further here because it really starts to kick into gear and really ramp up. But then, it's seeing, you get this early peek at the fact that all these rooms, they have these little peepholes, and like you can.
It's very unnerving. It's very unnerving, the notion that they were spying on people through.
Yeah, and the hint that there's stuff in there, like the little sparkle object. I actually didn't notice that again the first time. God, I'm loving the fact that I get to play this again. It's there's definitely like a ramping up, especially stuff like that. That just hooks you in, makes you really intrigued about what's going on. So I'm tempted not to sort of push on too much further. I will show the what I mentioned earlier, the creepy ladder turnaround, which I think is important context. That gradual drop, and then I get to here. This isn't okay. Having to do this, I'm not sure what lies ahead. So that, ladies and gents, is Dead Stop or Vacancy. Clearly something is afoot at this seemingly innocent motel, having survived that attempt to gas you out due to poor air conditioning, which is, by the way, what a great caveat for the start of the story as well. Mongoose was like, I need to see the ladder. So I'm glad we obliged her. That's important. So we've wanted to make sure we also, gave an opportunity for you to, end the stream on your terms, Ricardo, to sort of to put yourself out there in terms of anyone you want to give a shout out to, where, to the dev team, to the fact that obviously today is launch day for Dead Stop. What is there anything you wanted to kind of wrap up with, and what lies ahead for Camel 101?
Well, again, it's a super exciting day for the team. It's always an increase of the excitement and all the tension of checking the bugs and making sure everything is okay before launch. So the launch day is always a mix of emotions. So I'm very happy for the team, very proud of what we did. What to expect next? The next episode of Dead Stop. But I also want to say this is not the only thing that we are working on. We have another project that we are also working on that will be revealed in the coming months. I don't know exactly when. So this is not our exclusive thing now. But yeah, I can't spoil much more than that. But all I can say is that we are very happy with what we are doing, and I just hope that the players are also happy with the results of what we've been working on.
That's amazing. Ricardo, thank you so much for your perspective and time. Like I said, I realized live when we were doing this that this actually became a sort of really cool game commentary as you were kind of sharing those design nuggets and those approaches. Really excited to see what Camel 101 does next, and obviously very exciting to hear that you're also working on something in tandem with the Dead Stop episodic releases. So just generally a really exciting time, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to everyone in the Camel 101 Discord, and of course in the Burly Bird Media community. You can find us on all of the things at Burly Bird Media. That would be Threads, Instagram, Facebook, as well as our YouTube channel as well, and here on Twitch as well. Ricardo, where can people find you?
You can find us on X, on Blue Sky, on Facebook. Just search for Camel 101. You can find us almost everywhere, I think.
Amazing. Well, folks, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.